Gary, there's a great spot to take a picture over here in front of the palace. To all my middle-aged friends who now travel, and you're going to go to Europe, you're going to go visit London. Well, here are the 10 things that nobody tells you that's going to be useful for you at your age when you're traveling to London. First, this isn't part of the 10, but just know, bro, you don't need to say from the States. When somebody asks you where you're from, they already know you're American. They knew the minute you walked into the pub based on your ball cap, your waistline, and the sound of your wife's voice. They knew you're American. So what they're asking you is where from America you are. So you're going to tell them Florida, California, New York. That's mostly who travels. And before we get into the 10, I know this has been said before, but man, keep the obnoxious level. Try to turn it to a 3 or a 4. I'm obnoxious and I'm loud. They can only take so many of us. Gary, there's a great spot to take a picture over here. Like, there's 400 people there, and she's screaming across nobody else is yelling, only her. And we all turn to look at her so she can tell her husband, Gary, where to get a better picture. I'm like, oh my God, Susan, you gotta just bring the obnoxious down. 11, 10, bring it down to a 3. It's fine. They like you, Americans. They do. They like the Americans here because the Americans are bringing the money, and the Americans will tip. We're going to talk about this. It's one of my numbers on here. Tip. It makes up for the obnoxiousness. All right, let's go through these. Number 1, the weather's good. Dude, the weather is good in London. It's mild. It's not rainy all the time. That's a lie. It's a weird lie. It's because all the TV shows and the movies, it's always raining. I live in the middle of London. The BBC is always filming outside my house at the park. And whenever they film, they bring in fake rain to make it look like it's raining. I don't know. Stop. Let's just tell the truth about this, world. The weather is good in London. I don't know why we're not talking about this. Like, Nicole Kidman's plastic surgery has now just fucked up her face. Let's just talk about that. Let's talk about Garth Brooks there's something wrong with him. Like, super American obnoxious. Look at this faces he always made. These are things that are true. Garth Brooks, obnoxious. Nicole Kidman, messed up her face. The weather is good in London. Don't tell the British people that. You mention that to a British person, and they have no idea what you're talking about. They look at you like you're crazy. I tell them all the time, one of the things I like about London is the weather. They look at me, I'm like, look, it's sunny. They're like, yeah, but tomorrow it's going to be pissing down, mate. I'm like, no, it's not. Stop saying that. The weather's good. And when it does rain, I mean, it rains enough. Everything's green and beautiful, but it rains mostly at night. And it doesn't rain for very long. In California, it will rain for when it does rain, it rains for 2 weeks. I mean, Missouri, it'll rain so much, it's going sideways. It'll rain for 15 minutes. So much, I was outside of a shop, and it was raining, and I saw these British people just standing out. I'm like, why are they staring at the rain? Because they knew it was going to stop soon, and then they get on to wherever they needed to go. So the rain is very British. It's passive-aggressive. It's kind of cold, but it's polite. That's a good one. So you do not need to pack an umbrella. Pack tennis shoes. 2, there's no coffee creamer. No vanilla, no hazelnut coffee creamer. No, it doesn't exist. It was almost a deal breaker for me. You can get milk, and then you can go to one of the shops and get heavy cream, but there's no coffee creamer. 3, you mentioned this earlier. Leave a tip. Leave a tip. I was talking to an American yesterday, and they said, we were told not to leave a tip, that it's rude. I mean, rude to have a little more money. Maybe Victorian England. Maybe there's one little village somewhere, a posh village, where they would consider it rude. Yeah, you don't tip, royalty. I don't know. You don't tip, it's rude. No. In London, you tip. These are mostly Eastern European people working, some British people, but everybody's working to make a little money. Yes, they want your American dollars. You know how you can spot a gay right away? I mean, right away, you can spot a gay. They can spot Americans that way. Just the way you hold yourself. You don't even need to speak yet. They already know American. They're going to tip. Treat them good. Waiters will fight to serve your table because you're American. And then when you don't, because they were told it was rude to tip. Oh, leave American dollars. They'll take it to Barclays Bank and they'll turn it into pounds. Ooh. If you need a bathroom, here's one that nobody told me that I wish they would have. If you're walking around London, you need a bathroom, which they call a toilet. Nobody calls it the loo. They call it the toilet. We can talk about that later. And urinal, which I hate that. It sounds like a insult. But if you need a bathroom, go to a pub. Yeah. Or you can go to an American branded store. Go to a Burger King, a McDonald's, a Starbucks. They'll all have bathrooms. Trash cans, which they call dustbins. You're going to be putting your banana peel in your backpack for a while. There aren't a lot of trash cans in London. You're going to walk a ways before you get to one. And they remove them all because of all the terrorist activity. The food is great. The food is great, dude. I was told that the British food is bad. It's not. The food is great. In London, you have the choice of any type of food you want. Lots of Indian food. Indian culture here is huge. Lots of great Indian food. And not the Indian food that we get in California, like Southern Indian, where it's just like hot sauce, where you're like shitting hot sauce for like a week. No. Talking curry, you're talking chicken, you're talking rice, you're talking some really good Indian food. Man, fish and chips, you already know about that. You're going to do fish and chips. You're going to do a meat pie. You got to do it. I'm not a vegetarian, but I like the root pie. Oh, bangers and mash. Get some bangers and mash. A toasty. You want something light? It's lunchtime. Go to a pub. Order a toasty. Don't look it up. Just order it. Get yourself a toasty. Ooh, good stuff. You got a little kitchen where you're staying? Get some groceries and cook something. The vegetables are so good here. The onions, the white onions are so sweet and powerful and crunchy. I mean, it's almost like biting into an apple. The white onions are so good. I don't know why nobody talks about this, but I am. The food's good. That's 6. Number 7. It leads us right into number 7. Pub culture. Experience pub culture. Go to a pub. Relax. A pub is short for a public house. After a day at work, you'd go to your local pub. You'd have a pint. You'd meet your mates. You talk about the day, catch up on the local gossip, sit down, maybe have a second pint, solve the world's problems, and then you go home. It's great. It's not a bar. It's not a place to get shit-faced. It's a place to relax and to catch up and to have a laugh. It's a place to have a laugh. So have a laugh at a pub. Go to a pub. Go to a pub. 8, tip the buskers. Buskers are the street performers. They have a long history of performing in the UK, all throughout Europe. Take your Wells Fargo card or your Bank of America card, go to any ATM, you can use it, and pull out 20 quid, break it, and now you got some change you can give to the buskers. The buskers will also take US dollars. Tip them. It's great to be a part of it. My favorite busker is over on the South Bank, over by Shakespeare's Globe. There's a guy there. His busking is him, a manual typewriter. You come over, you give him an idea for a poem, he'll write you an original poem. There's no social media involved, nothing. Just the busking. Just you and him. He hands you over to the poem. You give him whatever you want. It's great. Participate in the busking. If you show up in London and you watch a busker perform, a juggler, a sword swallower, a magician, a musician, and you watch that, and then you take a picture and you don't throw some money in, I mean, shame on you. I will hunt you down and I'll slap that phone out of your face. Don't do it. I yell at people all the time. I'm walking around London. I see tourists stop and take a picture, and I say, you better tip him. You better tip him. If you take a picture of him, you give him money. He's not doing this for free. He's doing this for your tips. I always say that. Don't let me say it to you. You know better. Take the bus. Number 9. No more Uber. No. What are you doing in an Uber in London? With the public transportation, what are you doing in an Uber? Why are you wasting your money? Number 1, you're going to be late because of traffic. Number 2. Number 3, you're not seeing anything. Take public transportation. Take the bus. Take the tube. You don't need an Oyster card. And if you don't know what an Oyster card is, then forget that I mentioned it. You don't need one. You can use your credit card. You go to the underground. The underground is the subway. They also call it the tube. You go, you tap in, you get on it. It's clean, it's safe, it's interesting. During rush hour, it can get a little tight, but you work that out. It's a great experience. It is a London experience. Why are you coming to London and sitting in the back of a car? I get it if you take a black cab. I support the black cabs and the knowledge. I'm not going to go into it now, but support the knowledge, support the black cab. Do that. Great. Then use public transportation. You're at Heathrow? Great. You can take the Heathrow Express into Paddington. Then you take a black cab from there to your hotel. What's the other one called that leads to Russell Square? Piccadilly line. Just get on the Piccadilly line. It takes you right into central London. It takes you right here, 2 blocks from my house. Get into Heathrow, get your bags, take them over to the Piccadilly line, show up at Russell Square, give me a call. I'll take you around London. Or get a black cab from there and take the bus. I always tell Americans, take the bus. Americans are like, I'm not going to take the bus. Only the unemployed take the bus. No. You go for a little bit, you hit the little thing. Oh, there's something interesting. Let's get off. And then you can find your way back. If you have somebody in your group who likes to use apps, who's good with that sort of stuff, get City Mapper. If you're like me, middle-aged, ex-gen like me, and I don't want any more apps, don't worry about it. You can figure it out with Google Maps. But take the bus. At nighttime, the nighttime bus is one of my favorite things to do in London. I will take that even sometimes if it's longer for me to get to where I need to go. Because the English light their buildings in such a beautiful way. You sit up there on the double-decker red bus and you just see the city. Look at this. It's wonderful. Why? Don't do that hop on, hop off bus. Why would you pay that extra money when you can just do a regular city bus? You're not going to get lost. Worst case scenario, you get on a red bus, you go too far, or you go somewhere where you're not familiar with, then you get a black cab. Don't want a black cab? Then you call your Uber. You got to travel pretty far for you to end up in a weird place. And there are some weird places. Listen, I need to add, we're not going to go there right now. Yeah, we are. We're going to talk about it. And then we'll go to number 10. Just like any city, there are different demographics in different part of the city. There are areas in London that are a little different. You can show up in areas in London where it's going to feel like the Middle East. It's true. This isn't what I thought it was going to be. Okay, well, this is where my hotel is. It's fine. Nothing bad's going to happen to you. You're just probably going to want to take the train and get over to the central part of London. It happens. Don't be a dummy. If you were to go to New York, would you do that? Would you just get a hotel anywhere that says New York? If you're going to Detroit, if you're visiting Chicago, would you do that? Would you just be like, oh, here's a cheap hotel and not check what the neighborhood looks like? Do a little, find somebody who can do a little map. What is it called? The Google Map, like live thing where you can look around. Actually, look around. We did that. That's how we determined kind of where to go. Number 10, something nobody talks about. One of the reasons why I love London the most, it's the only city I've ever lived in where you can eat outside all year round with no bugs. It's like heaven. California, I lived in California for years. You go outside with a tuna fish sandwich and the flies, always, you're like this all the time. They even make little things to put on top of your food because of flies. Try to barbecue outside, there's always flies in your way. Missouri, you got mosquitoes. I mean, go anywhere like Florida and you're like spraying yourself down. You can't even eat outside. In Florida, some people's backyards and their swimming pools, they have full nets over it because of the mosquitoes. It's not a problem in London. It's because the temperature is right so mild in the middle. Never gets so hot that the flies are coming and bugging you. It never gets so wet and humid that there's mosquitoes everywhere. It's like perfect. Where I live right now, no screen on my windows. No screens. Doors, windows open. It's the best. That's my number 10. Bonus material. You never know what accent is going to come out of somebody's mouth. It's a joy. You're not really going to meet British people, a lot of them. It's so multicultural. You're going to meet people from all over the world. Polish people, man, I love the Polish people. Like down to earth, hardworking, funny, non-pretentious. The French people, the Italian, people from Hong Kong, from Vietnam, from Bulgaria, from Bolivia, from Czech Republic. Man, everybody. Spain, You're going to meet them all here. Australia, Scotland, Ireland, Nigerians. You get me on a bus with a Nigerian woman. We will talk forever about Jesus. We'll just ride around in the London bus just talking about Jesus. It's not just British. It's everyone. It's a united kingdom. Nice. So I need you now to like this video. I need 200 views. Is that too much to ask? 200 views. That's my goal. I have other stuff about London we can talk about, but I'm not going to do it till I get 200 views. And comments, my friends. My mom. Mom, leave a comment. Zach, Aaron, I don't know if you watch this. Kinsey, leave a comment. Kelsey, Kathy, Terry, leave a comment. Person I'm talking to right now who doesn't know me, leave a comment. Tell me that I'm handsome. Just leave that. You are handsome. Bye.